5th, 11/11. That's why I was laughing, because I just looked down and I saw it. I had a dream, but I don't remember it at all. But I stayed up really late. I didn't realize how behind I was with the videos, and I got distracted yesterday, and as usual, right, lost on my thoughts. But today's pretty low-key. I only have one client, which I'm grateful for. It's the first day back to school, and it's, yeah, it's definitely just low-key, I guess. But I wanted to speak on a couple of things. One, I listened to MJ's, she's doing a lot more teaching videos, which I like. So she talked about the moon sign. So I listened. My moon is in Capricorn, and it happens to be, I think, in the 4th house, maybe. I gotta remember, 3rd or 4th house. And it's this element of no, what was it? Dang it! I should have taken notes. I pursue, and this element of secretly wanting to be taken care of, and it's interesting. You know, there's this element of your moon being how you are emotionally satisfied to a certain degree, and there's also issues to work through in regards to your relationship with your mother. Actually, there's or the maternal caregiver, or maybe we should change that. I don't know. But there's elements as well. Like I someone else that I followed made a comment once about like the life lessons to learn in relationship to your mother, and so she was talking about how, you know, the inner desire of like being taken care of, and then pursuing people who are also like have the means, right? And I was reflecting on my relationships, and I know with my ex it played out a lot, that was very much, it played out in that way where I did want him to be successful. Didn't matter in what, as long as he was successful in what he chose. And I pushed, I remember there were different moments where I did push like higher education on him, and he would go, but then it wouldn't follow through, or I would end up doing the work for him, and then I was just like, I'm done. and then he got the bug to want to go back to school, and that was the whole nursing thing that never followed through with. And then it even got to the point where I was just like, dude, I'll give you the money to start your own like woodworking business, like that's a gift that you have. And he didn't take advantage of that. He didn't want to. The fear of failure was so much that he just would rather not. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, what can you do, right? But it was interesting because I do remember I remember being attracted to my professors, the male ones, more so because of the power, the knowledge that they held, and the power of just how they used the knowledge. I think that was it, really. It wasn't so much of the finances. It was more of like they just knew, like they were smart, and they were like not smart per se, but just they just knew stuff that I didn't, and I found that very attractive. This element of knowledge, and like I love to learn. So for me, it just, that's something that's I find very attractive, when I can learn something from someone. And I remember that shifted. I remember that shifted slightly with this person from my past, where it was different, and it was this element of like he was honest also about, he was honest about where he was. Him and his family were like financially with the businesses, and but I mentioned before, like, for whatever reason in that situation it didn't bother me, like it didn't matter to me, because there was just this knowing that I would make sure we would be okay. Like I would, I don't know why it shifted there, where it wasn't so much that I expected that from him, but it was almost like this inner knowing that if I ever would do something similar, where I would offer him like the, because I knew I would have the means, and if I offered him like, here, use this and build what you want, I know that he would do that. Like there was just this knowing that he would roll with it and like take it on and build something with it, do whatever he wanted to do with it, as long as he felt good, right? Not so much the success part, but just something for him, and I was good with that. So I know that the expectation shifted at that point. And then with this other fire sign, I mean, did he have the means? Yeah, I guess. I mean, he traveled a lot. I liked that he would share his stories with me, and then I got to know him through his stories and the work that he did. And then reflecting back, there were things that turned me off. Now in retrospect, right after, always in retrospect. He made a comment once. He was just like, "I'm done trying to work on myself." And I remember being slightly taken aback, and I remember calling it to his attention after I showed him his. I did a premature write-up of a birth chart for him, and I remember letting him know. I said, in order for that to happen, it requires you to continue to work on yourself. And then I walked away. And then I realized, right, he didn't really listen. And then he tried to hide stuff. So that turned me out, right? And so now we get to this new fire sign, because he's a fire sign too. And he was honest about where he's at and what he's working on and working towards. And there's this element of like, okay, like acceptance. It's more of this acceptance, like that's just where you're at, right? There's no judgment. And that's the funny thing. Like I'm just like, I'm interacting with him, but there's no judgment. And at the same time, there's no expectations, even though I did read in my poem that I said, but it's more of this questioning, like, will you be different? That's all I'm just seeing, right? He's gonna roll, he's gonna do his thing, and I'm just gonna see, right? Wait and see. Will he be different? And if he's not, he's not, right? To each their own. I mean, do I have a little longing inside? Yes. I hope he is. And I told him, I don't, but anyway, before I get to that part, so there's this element of acceptance of where he's at, and knowing that I just need to wait and see, and but the thing is, like, it's just his energy that feels good to me. His energy feels good. His touch feels good. His words feel good. And I like to see how he thinks. I know you can't see how people think, but but I like to see how he thinks, if I may say that, and just hear the flow of his thoughts and how he gets to his conclusions. And to a certain degree, like, I feel like that's more important to me, is the flow of his thoughts and the conclusion that he makes, and then the follow through of that, right? Will his actions match that? I think that's the part where I'm at right now. It's just kind of, I want to see if his actions match it. And that's more important to me, really. That's more important to me. So this element of like, I'm not longing for it. That's a thing. Like, I'm not longing for it. You know what MJ said, this element of being taken care of? Not anymore, anyways. I don't think. I guess it'll pop up maybe. And I'll let you guys know if it does. But at this point in time, I don't feel it. Like, I don't feel a longing for it. And then it just made me wonder, right? This element, she says, that people will try to fulfill it for themselves, but that they'll still long for it. And then I'm just like, well, is that how I feel? I'm like, not yet, it's not pronounced for me right now. But then I even thought about the love languages too, and the connection with that and your childhood, that whatever your primary love language is, to a certain degree, that also matches what you lacked growing up. And how mine used to be primarily touch, and then how that shifted. It wasn't a primary anymore. I think it was maybe secondary, or it leveled out. It leveled out with the other ones, but the one that stood out the most was acts of service, right? People doing things for me. That was what initially, and that was, I remember being shocked by that, because I was like, oh wow, and it happened to be during the time frame where I was practicing on allowing people to do things for me, allowing people to give to me, which was something I always kind of pushed away or had a hard time accepting. So then if that shifts, then is it possible that the interpretation of your moon sign will also shift? Is the question that I'm posing now. Wondering. But it, only when someone does their healing, right? And the focus is on that. Will we see that shift? Can we see that change? It's kind of like when you mature through the it's like when you mature, like on the birth chart, when you mature through the different signs, right? Like there's an element of maturing through the characteristics from being unbalanced to balanced, right? And it is, this birth chart is all about making sure you balance all the parts of your life. So then is it possible that the moon sign, that your moon will balance? Are they all opposing? Are they all kind of like the North Node and the South Node? Right? In terms of the positioning. I wonder, in terms of the positioning of the planets and the points. Like it can't just be like, this is just how you are, right? Can it be like the North Node and the South Node, that they have this opposing back and forth type of impact, not having to be North Node, South Node? I wonder. So what's opposing on my moon sign? I'd have to look to see what's the opposite of my moon sign, what house and energy it's in. I wonder. I don't know. So that came to mind. The other thing that I wanted to share real quick was that I reached out to him And I told him that we, like, you know, I totally owned my part. I totally owned my part in it too. That it wasn't just him. And he apologized for that too. And that I said we can hold hands, we can hug, we can even cuddle. Just no kissing. And I'm really like saying it for myself. like you make sure you're drunk. I was honest. I was honest about my intentions. And I told him, you know, where I was at, that I wasn't really looking, but at the same time I am, that I did not expect him to cross my path, that I've had dreams about him, and now I just need to wait and see. And that I had told him about my dreams the other night, and so I said that, you know, they show me where I'm gonna go, and I know where I'm gonna go. I don't know the in between. I didn't say that part, but I know where I'm going. And the person that's for me will be okay with that. And they will be ready. They will be ready. And then I told them that I'm, you know, I'm led to walk away from that which isn't in my highest good. And that I'm going to wait and see. Depending, right, if he wants that too. And he said he wasn't, he also agreed that, you know, who knows what, you know, if it's even like a match in the sense of like what we're wanting, right? What he's wanting versus what I'm wanting. But that he agrees we should be friends, and that and just see. We can learn from each other, he said. That's the best thing you can do. And I said, yeah. Well, in my head, right? I didn't respond back. But I liked his answer. And then I say it like that. I'm like, I like his answer. Because he gives good answers. The brownie points. Brownie points. I don't like that. I don't like that I have to do that. Maybe I shouldn't do that. This whole element of choosing. I don't like that I have to like do that. Compare and just, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I don't want to just go with the flow, right? That's why I told him what my intentions are, that because I know where I'm going, the person that's for me will get it. So is that setting an expectation? Yes. But at the same time, I'm trying to be emotionally neutral and accepting of where people are at. I'm trying to be kind of like this whole element of storytelling with my videos, right? Like I can tell when people listen, and I can tell when they don't. And when they don't, like, okay, well, no, there you go. That's where they're at. And I move on. So anyways. Alright, I need to get my TB test done and do a few other things. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.